Hello everyone, welcome into your weekly intuitive tarot reading. So I'm going to tap into the energies for the week, give you a little high-level overview of the astrological aspects this week and how then they may play into the reading, which I'll pull some oracle and tarot cards and just see what the message is for the collective that can best help you navigate the week, give you some perspective, awareness, and take advantage or the opportunities this week, as well as how do I navigate this with more ease and grace. So, from an astrological perspective, we just came off the big Leo solar eclipse. So, the energies are still kind of waning. So, we're still feeling it. It doesn't just disappear after the eclipse day. We can still feel this for the next couple weeks. And it is a period of like revelations and redirection. And, the question I think that we can sit with and we're still being asked is, who am I now becoming after this eclipse? What has this provided me, right? What of the revelations or the awareness or the aha moments? And what am I going to now do with it? And especially now that we're moving out of Leo, the sun's moving into Virgo on the 22nd of this week. So that's also a very tactical zodiac sign. So where Leo's more, who do I want to become? Who do I want to be? Virgo's adding Virgo in now is saying, okay, how do I do that? How do I tactically apply or make changes? And what does that physically look like in my day-to-day life? So we have on the 17th, Mars squaring Neptune. So Mars is a very action-oriented energy, and Neptune is that Pisces energy of fantasy, of dreams, of spirituality, of unconsciousness. So, and that square does create some tension there. So something to be aware of is just Mars can, with the tension, with the square, can create some impatience or some triggering aspects, especially when it comes to things that are going on in our unconscious or our emotions. Our emotions could get triggered. Neptune, especially in the detriment, can seem a little, we can create some sort of fantasies or delusions about, create stories. So we want to be able to differentiate intuition versus action and what's actually true versus what's kind of just something that I'm wishing could be or wishing something to happen. And there's kind of going to be that confusion between wanting to take action and wanting things to be a certain way and what is actually just maybe my unconscious or my feelings getting triggered and creating some impatience there. And then also on the 17th, so we have a few things happening on the 17th. We also have Mercury trine Saturn and Venus sextiling Jupiter. So these are actually very beautiful energies that will help kind of complement or balance out the square between Mars and Neptune. But so that Mercury and Saturn is asking us to slow down a little bit, be realistic. Also, like, how can I communicate in a way that's going to be productive or actually get some solution? Or, how can I use my intellect or my communication or my ideas to build upon something that's lasting or that actually gets me in a certain direction or makes some progress? And then that Venus and Jupiter, again, Venus is love and Jupiter is about expansion and opportunities there. So there is some opportunities when it comes to relationships or romance. There's a lot of creative expression here. Financial openings, like improvement in financials, opportunities there, and an expansion in these areas. So what is opening up for you? So again, we have some great energies there. So take advantage. And then we have Venus opposing Saturn on the 21st. And this is kind of a reality check energy, especially when it comes to romance, relationships, and finances. A big reality check with Saturn. So this can come about looking at like, how can I improve my debt, paying off bills, creating a budget. This can also look, when it comes to relationships, illuminating, again, reality checks. What's like looking at things more maturely, responsibly, and really seeing the truth and how to apply truth and actually tactical things to address anything that's not working in a relationship. So you're going to be able to see where there's, the people aren't respecting you, where there isn't reciprocal energy going on, where maybe you're doing too much or people are taking advantage of you, commitment issues, emotional distance, and self-worth. So, and because Venus is also in Libra, that whole theme of relationship is going to be highlighted even more. And a good question this is going to bring about is, where am I settling for potential instead of reality? And where am I just settling? And what is my truest potential, and becoming aware of that? And then the last thing this week is going to be the sun entering Virgo on the 27th, the 22nd. And I kind of talked about that with the application of the solar eclipse, solar eclipse that just happened. And Virgo really focuses on, again, tactical things, routines, also health. So health is going to be focused more organization and how am I applying things? How am I actively applying my actions or my responses, or how I view life, and doing that in a way that changes my day to day. All right, so that's kind of high level. We are ramping up to the next eclipse, which is a lunar eclipse in Pisces, and that's on the 27th. So I am going to do a specific reading for this eclipse, and it's going to be kind of what I did last week. Is it's going to have an emphasis and focus on the eclipse, but it's going to kind of take the place of the weekly. So let's go ahead and tap in and see what wants to be shown or told to you all. This is a general reading again, so take what resonates, leave what doesn't. How I really intuitively read the cards and any information I get really is applying it from a higher view, what's going to impact us as a group, as a collective, but also potentially how this could show up in your individual lives. So we have man holding a coin, the sun. So we have the sun moving into Virgo, which is interesting because we have, again, the man holding the coin is about the physical nature of life, like money, physical things, which is Virgo, an earth sign, and then combining it with the sun. So what makes me happy? What's going to feel good? And a shift here. So I do feel like things are going to shift from a physical nature for the collective. This could be a shift in money. You could have a shift in opportunities, people coming into your, across your path, or people that are there that are going to help you in some way and create more ease in your life. And then we have the World card. So this is a culmination point, a big endings and new beginnings here. If you see in this card, this individual is reaching kind of the end of the dock. And it kind of seems like, okay, I've hit like a dead end here, but it's the dead end of like a current situation or current path you're on. And now the world represents this almost potential of the possibility of all potentials that are opening up for something new. And I do feel like what's opening up is something that's going to bring in abundance and make you feel a lot better in general. Let me just grab one more. The garden and the gate. Yes. So you are going to be asked to leave a situation, or this is also from a higher perspective, asking the collective, we are being pushed out of our comfort zones. This is key with where we're at right now energetically. especially for those of you on the path of ascension, or you're going through awakening, or you're continuing to evolve, and you're more aligned and aware of what's happening from a higher perspective. We are being asked to get out of the old ways of living, the old things that we've held on to because they're comfortable. We're really being asked for some major changes because we need to be able to expand in a way to create, again, the new reality, to create and show people that the potentials for how we can live and be in relationship, how we can express ourselves, how we can align with our purpose and our truth and our true aligned skill sets, and be able to live and not follow the old templates. So that's a really interesting kind of set of oracle here. So let's get some more with the tarot. We have the Queen of Swords, Strength card, and the Enlightened one. So we're finding the courage, right? The Strength is about an overcoming of a mindset or overcoming our fears and becoming more enlightened this week. So there's something here about really clearly seeing where you want to go, a path forward, getting clarity this week. I think we're really working through, again, what came up from from the eclipse last week. We're getting a lot of clarity. We're aligning with our truths, and we're moving forward with confidence and strength to say, nope, I'm going to overcome my fears. I'm not going to be held back anymore because of what people want from me. Or again, there's a lot about like the masks we wear or how we show up in life is really how we show up is because we've learned a certain way of coping with our environment, our family, the community we live in, whatever it is. And we've essentially show up in ways that we think people want us to appear a certain way, to kind of belong, to get people to like us, to essentially bring more ease. We think it's a way to navigate this world with more ease and also to maintain connection in some way. But we're getting enlightened to these patterns and these ways of coping, these masks that we've applied. And the Queen of Swords is saying, who am I really, right? And I said that at the beginning of the reading where the Leo eclipse really opened up, like, who am I? And what do I want to do now? Who do I want to be? And who is my true authentic self? And now the Queen of Swords is saying, now how do I apply that? Now how do I move forward and actually continue to show up in that truth in that way? And no matter what I face, whether it's judgment, backlash, people not liking me, or even facing the fact that, maybe I have to change my environment. Maybe there's relationships that, I need to kind of walk away from or put some distance in between people. Whatever it is, changing careers, you are finding the courage, especially during this Leo season, because the Strength card does represent the lion, which is Leo energy. All right, let's keep going here. Eight of Wands, so there's definitely movement here. So we're seeing more clearly about with the swords. The swords are clarity, information, truth. And we have the wands. The Eight of Wands is movement. It can be about serious communication. It can also be about movement or travel. The Nine of Pentacles, that's the self. The Nine of Pentacles is, again, about you, how you are aligning with. The more we align with our authentic self and our truth, the more we open the door to our highest potential of abundance, our highest potential of fulfillment. And we're starting to realize that. And again, going back to courage to actually do the things that we really want to do. And we have the Nine of Wands. So 2 nines here. And, you know, we are letting go of things or a life that really felt more about responsibility and obligation than it actually did. Hey, these things really align with me. They fulfill me. They provide me expansion. They help me to grow. This Nine of Wands to me represents things that really suppress us, and really almost expresses this metaphor of like we're enslaved. We feel like we're forced to do certain things or to align. These could be relationships, patterns. Again, they've caused you a lot of heaviness, burden, stress. They could also have affected you physically. And you're now realizing this and being more enlightened to realize now I'm really seeing my patterns. I'm seeing that I took on these obligations and responsibilities because these are the templates that I was programmed to believe into from the time I was born in this reality with where humans are. And especially in an origin of ancestry or family that we were born into, we are made to believe certain things that obviously are not our truth, that aren't the divine truth. And essentially anything that's aligned with divine truth is going to bring ease, growth, expansion. It's going to help us evolve. It's going to help bring ease. It's going to help us follow the path of our greatest joy, our highest potential, our highest timelines, where we're always following our dreams, our desires, our intuition. And yes, sometimes, you know, there are lessons that we must learn. And it doesn't mean that we necessarily weren't on our highest timeline, but there are fated, destined events that we definitely are meant to experience. And even though you would maybe explain them as creating more negative emotions for you or hardships or challenge. But overall, we're becoming enlightened to all of it, right? And that's this enlightened one. You're becoming more enlightened this week and really seeing things more clearly, seeing how this impacts this, and seeing how it all plays together in a story. I'm just going to get a clarifier here for this Eight of Wands. Six of Pentacles. That's about that reciprocity, or that, energy of giving and taking and creating more balance in your life. So you could be really clearly communicating to someone or a job or a relationship about how things are imbalanced, how you want to create more balance, and seeing, again, all you can do is express how you feel and what you desire. And then it's kind of up to you to realize that no matter what the response is, if the response is resistance or pushback, you still need to follow what's right for you, which ultimately could mean, leaving this in the past, walking away, making a change. Queen of Swords, Page of Pentacles. So there is a lesson here. There is definitely a lesson that you're really seeing clearly now. I think, to me, with the Queen of Swords, meaning you are now clear of the lesson, and now you can move forward with strength and confidence to not make the same mistake again, or to not stay in the same situation. You're obviously seeing the lesson because it's time for you to close this up, right? You have the World card. So whatever this chapter was, this path that you've been on, there was something to learn from it, but you are seeing why you were in it, what the lesson is, so you clearly don't do it again. I think, too, a root of this is just about more being your authentic self, removing the masks. You're not going to buy in anymore that you are obligated or responsible for anyone else or what they want if it isn't, if it doesn't really kind of fulfill you, or it doesn't help you grow. In reality, you've created this story in your head that I have to be the strong one. I have to take care of everyone. My way of loving everyone is to doing everything for them, which there's a lesson. So ultimately here, let's see, what's the ultimate guidance from this lesson, from all of these cards? Five of Cups. There is going to be a little bit of emotional processing. There may be difficult emotions that you're going to have to face. You know, Five of Cups can mean loss or grief or sadness. It could be sadness about the years you've wasted. It could be sadness about a relationship that you're realizing it's time for this to end. Whatever this is, but also there's this repression of emotions that you haven't allowed yourself to really face, because if you face the emotions, you're also going to have to face and make changes, because that's called self-abandonment. You've been abandoning yourself, and when you self-abandon, it's the same thing as if someone was abandoning you. So essentially, you're doing the same thing that maybe someone did to you in the past, because that's what you learned. And it's hard. It's hard to shift and realize that I have been self-abandoning myself, and now I have to stop and actually choose me and do what's right for the inner child in me. What is the inner child really asking of me? And a lot of times we're too afraid to actually do the things that our inner child truly needs, which is interesting, because if you shift that around, you can actually then put yourself in your, let's say, your parents' shoes, or a relationship where they did the same to you. And in reality, they probably did the same because they were just living in their own fear to do what's right. Five of Wands, 2 5s. To me, this is a big kind of crossroads point. Like the 5 is in the middle of the 1 and the 10. There's definitely a lot of conflict that this is bringing up for you. You're getting a lot of clarity and enlightenment about things, but it is creating a lot of conflict, because it's almost like your beliefs are contradicting your awareness and your enlightened state and the new information you're getting, especially after the solar eclipse. And if you're seeing conflict in your external world, if you feel like this eclipse has brought up some conflict in your life, this is just a mirror of the inner conflict that was already within you, and it's being shaken up, right? It needs to be shaken up to be expressed, and especially it's kind of shaking up some emotions for you. And then the Hierophant. Yes, this is all about our traditional beliefs and mindsets that we were programmed with. We followed what people told us, whether it was we followed our parents' direction, we followed what the collective said, what marriage like for example, you know, this whole concept of marriage, and you have to get married and you have to stay no matter what. And all the feelings tied to like facing the fact like you don't want to be married anymore. There's a lot of deep emotions that we've been programmed to believe, that we're failures, that we're shamed, that we're not good people. There's people that are going to be disappointed in us. All of those things are false. You know, maybe there will be people that are disappointed, but guess what? They're stuck in their own delusion of reality. They're stuck in their own delusion of these old templates, right? Of what life is, how do we live them by, what are the rules of this reality. And the rules that we've been provided of this reality were all delusional. They were all, you know, implemented through people who were delusioned. And a lot of it was to control. It was all implemented out of fear, out of the need to control, out of the need to try and solve issues in ways that we thought maybe were the best. But in reality, it's created a lot of emotional turmoil and conflict in the collective, and also within our hearts and our minds. Wow, some deep stuff here. But so navigate this week lightly. Definitely whatever comes up within you, whether it's emotions, beliefs, we're really going to see these come up. I mean, we've already been since the last eclipse. But these 2 weeks in between until the next eclipse is a time for us to really process and to get clarity around what the first eclipse was really asking for us to see, and now make changes on. So, everyone, thanks for joining in. Have a good week ahead. Watch out for the solar eclipse, or sorry, lunar eclipse video coming up. And if you haven't yet, definitely take a look at your, I did the 4-element zodiac sign monthly readings. Those are all out. Take a look. I did a general reading for each element, and then I do at the end pull a couple cards for each of the individual zodiac signs. See you in the next reading, everyone. Bye for now.